Okay, so starts with the sun, and
So
then it goes.
So draw sun. Draw sun right here.
So the energy starts with the sun.
Just draw sun.
Just yeah, just
Yeah, just draw
Just
sun. Just draw sun somewhere. Make it sparkly. Put some glitter on
sun
it.
to our producers and algae.
So yeah, our
Alright, so
producers.
draw an arrow from the sun to a little bean looking algae guy.
Or plankton.
Just a bunch
Just
of like
say-
beans.
just write it.
Draw a bunch of beans.
Algae to what's the primary one?
Alright, so primary would be like brine
To
shrimp.
yeah, primary
And then-
to brine
And
shrimp.
then from that, draw to like brine.
Okay.
Then down to like
Brine shrimp.
down to secondary.
Brine shrimp.
Or
Wait,
down to
can I-
primary. Sorry.
Brine shrimp.
Primary,
Brine
which
shrimp.
is brine shrimp.
I said the same. And then from brine shrimp, just put gold.
To
Goals.
Okay, so as you finish
secondary.
up your beautiful artwork,
To
here's
secondary,
your next thing to
which
consider.
is gold.
The gold.
And then
California.
Tertiary.
To
All of your diagrams showed
Which is
energy
like-
entering the ecosystem at Mono Lake through the sun,
coyote.
and then producers, and then on up through these levels, yeah? There is another way that energy can enter this ecosystem. I need you to consider what you know about Mono Lake. So think back to the video and the reading. How else would energy come into that system? And by energy, I'm talking about biomass. Biomass is biotic, not abiotic like the sun. That's one way. I want to know how energy would come into Mono Lake. It does regularly every year. Okay? How would that energy come into Mono Lake? You talk in your groups.
Other animals move into the monolith.
Exactly.
Also, coyote to decompose. Bacteria.
Decomposers. So it goes sun to algae to brine shrimp to California gold to coyote to decomposer.
Excuse me, that's California. No, it's not. You just draw sun. Make it sparkly. Put glitters and sequins all over it.
okay, so
Make it pretty.
alright, so
I
other
have
it can,
Sorry,
okay, so we can get
I call it.
Okay, guys.
okay, so the question was is how does biomass come into the ecosystem? Well, biomass is all
Animals
the
move to and bring seeds. Those seeds
biomass.
off of
Biomass is all the mass in an ecosystem that was from organisms.
So more organisms
Okay,
coming into
yeah.
Mono Lake would cause more biomass.
Yeah, I thought we already established this. Yeah.
So more.
So yeah, the more
So the more organisms coming into Mono Lake, the more biomass.
Okay, I don't know what to do.
No.
There's biomass.
God, that was terrible. Where is my
these look like they were to put in.
Just now realizing.
All right, what are you thinking?
We said since biomass is all the mass in the organism, well, all the mass in the ecosystem from the organisms, we said the more organisms that come into Mono Lake, the more biomass.
So what is coming into Mono Lake? What specifically?
Like more. So there's more sunlight, which leads to more algae.
That stuff's there.
So we need like
This is one way to create more biomass, but there's
Plants.
something that comes in.
animals move in?
Specifically, what animals are we talking about?
Birds. Migratory animals.
Bam.
And also migratory
Migratory animals.
animals
Like heron.
come in and add more biomass for certain like
Glad you were
period.
listening to that conversation. Did you really? Great. Go ahead. Did you overhear that conversation?
No, man.
All right. Did you overhear the conversation? Do you have a clue? No. Okay. Let let me help you out. Don't give it away. Let's see if we can talk them through it, right? Okay. Think about the organisms at Mono Lake. They're already there. They're feeding off of what's already there. That path is pretty clear from the sun. Okay? So besides the sun, what's coming in? So we're talking about a biological organism, right? A living thing coming into the area, into the ecosystem. Which animals is coming in to that ecosystem? Birds. And how are they doing it? Migration. Okay, so this is another introduction of energy into this ecosystem. Now here's the next question. It's building, right? My next question is, and this is highly debatable, so I need some whys. Okay, I need you to say because. The California gulls migrate in every year, lay eggs, raise them so that they can fly, and fly away with them. Are they bringing more biomass to the ecosystem, or are they taking more biomass out with them? And why? Discuss.
Is there an in-between?
Nope. Not equivalent.
Okay, since they
Well, when
They could be taking it away though
They're
because
taking it out
they're
because they
eating
create,
like the.
they're taking it out because they're creating the biomass in the ecosystem, and then when they have that biomass, they just pack it up.
So
Like
yeah,
one of those
leave, but
hobo
they
bags.
also come
they
back.
do both. It's kind of
But
like
they're
both.
coming back.
They gain it.
So at one point they're gaining biomass, and at another point they're losing biomass.
So when the California gulls are migrating with their biomass that they made, they take it that there would be less biomass from them, but when they come back, there would also be more.
That's like an in between.
It's an
Yeah, I love it.
when they are there, they
When
do
they're there, they're creating more biomass.
for the environment, but
Well,
when
wait,
they're gone,
are they
they're still
creating
left.
more biomass? Because when they're there, they're creating more biomass, and then all the biomass that they're creating, they're taking right back out with them, and that's normal.
Yeah, but then they also
But they
come
also
back,
take some of like
that
the
biomass
food
makes
and all that
more
too
biomass.
to make it. So it's like they lose it, but then it does come back when they come
So
back.
it's
I
like
feel like overall they're gaining.
yeah, like this square makes less of a spur. This square makes 2 more spurs. And then they leave. And then they come back. And then these squares make more spurs.
Do we have consensus among our groups?
These squares
Make
make more squares.
Any groups arguing amongst themselves?
They're hobo birds.
Oh, no, you guys are good. All right, so groups, would everyone in group, please raise your hand if you think that they bring more biomass in. Okay, so we had 2 groups. And then the rest of you, I assume you're going to raise your hand to say they take more out. Is that right? Okay, so give me some reasonings. Try and convince each other. How are we doing this? Okay, Amberlynn? They consume the biomass like what? Okay, so the gulls consume the primary consumers. Okay. That was easy. Good job. Okay. And then
with that, it helps them like with them to make the egg and like to be healthy to make it, and then they take the egg away. Like what came out of the egg makes the bird with them, so they're taking what they get.
and what you know of birds, right? How many eggs do you think they're gonna successfully raise?
3.
2, 3, 4, maybe. Okay, so you got a family of gulls. Okay, and if they produce 3 babies, so now you got a biomass of 5 organisms, right? And so you're saying that those 5 organisms are gonna go ahead.
And also it's actually distributed evenly because they do leave biomass behind when they like any bird that dies.
Any birds that die there.
And it's not they don't take or leave more, maybe they just distribute it evenly.
And what did it
They
depend on the
also
year?
like take a lot more with them because I bet not half of them die.
It depends.
I bet a lot of them survive and a lot of them eat the shit.
So what eats them?
Coyotes.
All right, so we got 5 birds of each gull family. How many of them do you think get eaten and leave their biomass there?
3.
Two.
One or two? Even if we go with two, we're still flying away with more biomass, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also a lot more brine shrimp and brine flies than there are coyotes, so there's a better chance of the brine shrimp population going down.
Okay, this is where I want to go. Remember our activity yesterday? And how we had like a lot more brine shrimp than we had gulls, than we had coyotes, right? And then even think down to the algae that you were eating. Brine shrimp, if you remember, if you were a brine shrimp, how many noodles would you estimate filled your tummy?
30, 40.
I was 40 or 50.
It depends what kind of noodle.
I know how little. So the jelly beans, we counted them out. They didn't fill everybody's stomach, but our top, our gulls and our jelly beans ended up being somewhere between 20 and 50, right? And that didn't fill all the bags. So I'm going to guess around 50 noodles might fill a brine shrimp's tummy. So we go from 50 organisms down to, what was the number you guys had in your third or fourth round?
16 for 1.
Okay, so 50, 16 for 1. So you're talking about bigger numbers of organisms at a lower level in order to support the higher levels, right? And sometimes the birds fly away. But I did hear this group talking about then the next year.
So what we said is that, say you have like 3 birds migrated. Obviously it's going to be more than that, but they come in and they have eggs, and then they have not more birds that they make, and then they leave, and then they come back, and then those birds make more birds, and it just keeps getting bigger, and they come back to do it.
Okay, so they are going to bring that biomass back eventually. But initially when they leave, would you guys agree that they take more out? Would you guys be convinced of that? Okay, new vocab word. I need you to write this down in your binder. It's up there. Trophic levels.
On what page?
Backside of your focus questions. Do you have room? If not, back in 19 is fine. No, trophic levels. All right, so it is levels in a food web that energy flows through. So you know this chart that we've been doing with producers on the bottom and primary and secondary and tertiary? Look familiar? Those are the same names for our trophic levels. Trophic levels have a bottom layer, middle layers, and a top layer, and decomposers on the side. Yep. Nothing? Okay. They go by the same name. So our first trophic level is producers. Our second trophic level is primary. This is where it gets a little confusing. Our third trophic level is secondary. Our fourth trophic level is tertiary. There can be fifth and sixth levels to this too, just not at Mono Lake. All right, and then we have decomposers, which are kind of like recyclers. They recycle the biomass. Okay, they turn it into other things that the biomass can use. Good? So the next discussion question. Okay. Is all the biomass consumed by a primary consumer, like a brine shrimp, transferred to the secondary consumer, like a gull, when the brine shrimp is eaten? So, for example, a brine shrimp eats the planktonic algae. Is all this energy that's consumed by these guys given to the California gull when it gets eaten? And then explain, discuss.
No. Okay, my son goes into margin for it.
Because the energy
Carol?
Okay, so all the energy in the brine shrimp go to the Calpurnian Bowl.
No, because they don't. They're small.
I don't think so because it just. Wait, what was it question again? Sorry.
Does all the brine shrimp energy go to the gall?
No, because the brine shrimp energy.
I think it actually might because, like, think of like a bird eating like a shrimp. If they eat the whole thing.
No, I mean something eats the bird and the bird has that energy, and then the coyote eats it, and then the coyote has that energy from
But
the
still,
shrimp.
So
all
you
of
want to
it.
eat all of the brine.
What do you mean?
I don't think so. No.
Because like it's like when you're eating like a bird, like you eat like feathers too, you know?
Oh, I'm but this is kind of different. It's like a little fish, like they just swoop in and get the
I don't think so because okay, so say the gull eats all the shrimp, and then the coyote eats the gull, and then the coyote has the energy from the gull, and then the brine shrimp that's the gull ate.
That doesn't.
To support the primary, to support the secondary, to support tertiary.
That might not
Like our
digest it all.
stipulation
But
yesterday,
They might not get all that.
it just indicates that in order to support our top level consumers, you gotta have a lot more.
That's like saying like okay, so like say you had like pasta, you just have to eat like pasta and like the sauce, and that's like saying like well since the sauce was like in the noodles, you still have energy from like the sauce.
Sounds like you are decided. Travis, please put your book away.
That was a bad analogy.
Not right now. How many of you said no? So like, here's the deal.
raise your hand.
If the brine shrimp eats, and biomass can be measured in grams, okay? If this shrimp eats 10 grams in its lifetime before it gets eaten, will those 10 grams be transferred fully to the California Gulf?
No.
No, 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 no. So all of you agree. Okay, explain why. Up here. Okay.
Before it's eaten, the brine shrimp's going to expel waste and other bodily things, which is gonna have to use energy like algae, so it's not gonna have to.
So it'll use energy to get rid of its waste. Okay.
And it'll use energy to find more, like plankton and stuff to eat.
So like
plankton
moving
algae.
around to get the food. Yep.
It doesn't eat every like part of it.
Okay. Doesn't eat every part of it. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. It's gonna spend some energy doing these things, right? I heard waste. I heard movement. Is this looking familiar? What else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so growth and what goes with that? Reproduction.
Intake.
Yeah, what's the name of that fourth? Maintaining. So that includes healing and temperature. Maintenance. Okay. Right? So some of this energy is going to be lost from the brine shrimp because it has to do all these things, right? In order to live. And as a matter of fact, these can be sorted into two different categories. Okay? Growth and reproduction is more biomass. So if it's more biomass being created by growing and making more of itself, that can be passed on. The rest of the stuff is just using energy. What do you think the ratio is here? How much energy is spent doing this, and how much energy is spent doing this that can then be passed on to increase the biomass of the rest of the ecosystem? 65 what? 65 here, like in this section? Okay, so these three things, 65%. So that means, do your math. Okay, 35 will be passed on. You think it's more?
So like take us for instance, we move all day and not all of us reproduce. So there's gonna be a very small amount of time use, but we spend all of our time.
But we grow a lot. Yeah. Okay.
But doesn't it depend on like the species? Because like say a bear, when it's like hibernating, it's not gonna be moving a lot.
Sure. But I would say over its lifetime and in general of the ecosystem. Ben? Any other guesses besides 65 and 35? How else would you split that? Oh, you guys, your jaws are going to drop. Are you ready? Only 10% of the biomass of the energy gets moved to the next trophic level. The rest of that energy is used for maintenance, for movement, and for waste.
So only 1 gram would go to the brine shrimp.
Oh, and that's my next thing, okay? If we consider producers, and I'm going to change this so you can get used to this, okay? I'm going to change this to 100 kilograms gets given to the primary. What then gets given to the secondary? Then what gets given to the tertiary? Could you show your work on your whiteboard?
1.
Okay, but I don't understand.
So if you start with 100 kilograms,
And you take a tenth of 100.
and then you take 10% of that, only 10 kilograms would go on to the primary.
So, and then, yeah, a tenth of that.
10 kilograms would go to the primary.
No.
No, we're in kilograms. So then 10 kilograms.
Where is it?
10 kilograms.
Then 1. Then
0.1.
I mean, you could have a coyote that, I mean, how many goals do you think a coyote would in a lifetime? You have one per day,
Right.
or one every other day? I don't know. And then think about
No, wait, no.
Do decomposers even?
they don't really get
all
in.
those
I don't think,
goals,
yeah.
and then all those brine
Decomposers
shrimp,
just,
and then all that algae.
that is just sad.
Right?
So they go from 100, it's all upside down. Well, anyways, it goes from 100 kilograms from the beginning, then it only uses 10%. The brine shrimp do, so it gets 10 kilograms. Then it passes on 1 gram to the California Gold. The brine shrimp passes 10 kilograms to the California Gold, 1 kilogram to the coyote, 0.1 to bacteria.
Okay, so what we're going to move to next is, so if this is the case, right, consider that coyote. Okay, if we have 100 grams and only 0.1 kilograms is making it to the coyote, that's gotta, I mean, okay, so it's going to eat a gull, right? So the coyote eats maybe a couple gulls, right? Eats a couple gulls. What do those couple gulls have to eat?
A couple of shrimp.
Each of those gulls have to eat the shrimp, right? And all of the shrimp. And then what do those shrimp have to eat?
Oh,
See how our pyramid just gets kind of huge at that point? Yeah? Okay. So let's try a different exercise. Let's reverse this. Okay? So if we use the 10% rule, and let's say, I'm trying to find my number. Hang on 2 seconds. Math problem for you. If our coyote needs to increase its biomass by 1 kilogram, how many algae is needed to support that? Show me your work.
Okay, so Ohio needs 1 kilogram. So
That means this.
1 kilogram. So it gets 1 kilogram.
So it needs to eat 10
10 goals.
shrimp.
Or
He needs to eat 10 goals.
10 goals. And then if you have 10 goals,
it would need. Wait, time. So the coyote would need to eat 10 goals, and the goals would need to eat
100 shrimp.
Talk to me in terms of kilograms, though.
100 kilograms.
100 kilograms of shrimp.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would need 10 kilograms of shrimp.
Yeah.
So this would need 100 kilograms. This one would need 10.
But we need to know how much shrimp the algae should eat.
How many algae the shrimp should eat?
No,
1,000
how much
kilograms of
algae?
algae.
Yeah.
1,000. Oh, you just go by 10.
Yeah. 1,000 kilograms of algae is what the shrimp should eat.
okay, so it's 100.
I don't get it. Yeah, so we gotta work backwards. To support 1 kilogram of coyote, how many kilograms of gold? Because that goes in, remember, because it only gets 10%. So work backwards. One kilogram is 10% of the gold. Which is like whatever, 10 kilograms. Because one that's like no 100 kilograms. Go down one. Show that image. Where are we at?
1,000 kilograms.
Do y'all know how you got that?
Yeah.
You take this, or
We started
this
with.
You started with 1 kilogram.
1 kilogram.
And that's 10% of 10 kilograms.
And so
And that's 10% of 100 kilograms. And that's 10% of 1,000. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's awesome. All right. You can stop that.
Bye.
All right. 8th grade.